Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Again, my name is Damien Oliver and this is my Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved channel. Now, so everybody knows it's been approximately a full week since the last episode I made, although for you guys that'll only be about 2 days because of the backlog. So I may forget some things might be slightly disorganized. Sorry about that. Real life got in the way. But fortunately, I do have the clipboard, so there is that. Now, as you can see behind me here, we got the two thermal lilies on our mana pool going, and as you can kind of see, the mana pool is actually pretty close to full. Closer than any mana pool that I've ever had, actually. Sorry, people are chatting about me in chat. But yeah, it's mainly because of the Ender Flames. And me just basically chucking fuel at them randomly whenever I notice they're not charging. Now, something I did notice, and actually a couple corrections to the last episode I made, I found that if I chuck one fuel source at them, they will both light up. This is apparently some sort of visual glitch. Just as the fact that one didn't seem to be consumed at all. But if I click on them or wait for a long enough period of time, one of them will shut off. I'm not sure why they're not doing it now. But the good thing to know is if I just chuck an entire stack at them, they will burn up what they need. There we go. And then they will basically stay at it. The other correction I wanted to point out is I said before that the maximum amount of time they could have is what's provided by a block of coal. That's something I found on one of the wikis. That's apparently been changed in the later versions. And a block of coke is now the maximum fuel they can take. Any fuel that lasts longer than coke will work, but will be reduced down to the time of the coke. And since they produce the same amount no matter what, it's just a matter of ticks. You're therefore losing fuel. So coke is the best thing you can use. Now, like I said, this is the fullest I've ever had a mana pool because, frankly, I don't play enough Botania. But I think this has cost me somewhere in the range of about 30 coke. So, yeah, there is that. So, got that. As you might have seen there from the clipboard, I have been doing some new crops. And in fact, I've expanded my fields quite a bit, as you can see. I do have new sprinkler systems, although I don't have one on here yet. It is set up to do so. And remember, each sprinkler system does a 9x9, so that's about a 4x4 fields here. As far as I can tell, the Oculus accumulator is more than keeping up with the demand for all these sprinklers. The only thing I am questionably concerned on is the transfer node, because it's basically limiting the speed right now. The Oculus accumulator is never empty, and neither is the transfer node, but it's basically going through and checking each and every one of these one block at a time. It doesn't check all of them like most other pipes would. So far it seems to be handling it. If I had another row, we might have to consider it a speed upgrade. But I have taken the rice and the beans, and I've created some soybeans, which we will be using to make tofu, which is kind of the meat substitute. Actually, tofu is a substitute for a lot of things, depending on what stage it is. Now, something to note, though, is in order to make either of the tofus, which one's just basically reprocessing the other, I need this presser. And the presser, like a lot of the other things that involve agricraft. Helps if I spell that right again. There we go. This isn't agricraft in itself, but it does work with the soybeans, which I guess kind of part of agricraft now since you can't give it any away. The presser now basically requires several canned Thaumcraft seeds. I don't think I have any of these, although I think I am close to oak and I think celery. The others will have to wait. I also got corn and sweet potatoes, and sweet potatoes is more for a stepping stone for getting towards the watering plant, honestly. So that's not a big deal. The rest, I think everything else can be handled downstairs, so why don't we head down there real quick. Oh, something I did notice. If you remember, this fridge was white before. Apparently, if you click on it with any heat color, it just switches colors. So, interesting to know. As you can see, while I don't intend to farm this for squid ink sacs, considering I'm going into agricraft, into Thaumcraft, that is kind of nice. Now, you'll notice the grass here. We'll get to that in a moment. One thing I did want to bring up is the Builder's Wand. This has helped me expand my platform out quite a lot. You'll notice that I do try to keep it fairly even, and that's because, frankly, I have a fear of heights that sometimes bothers me in Minecraft. And this kind of helps me keep up with it. But the Builder's Wand is pretty simple. It just requires 2 blocks of diamonds, which we already know how to get blocks of diamonds, and 2 steel rods, which are from immersive engineering, and it's just using 2 steel like you'd make sticks. So, not a hard recipe. And then, if you go up to something, I won't do it right now because I don't have any cobblestone on me. But if I grab some cobblestone like that, it'll show you the white outline of what it's planning on doing. Now there's 2 different Builder's Wands. One's the normal Builder's Wand, one's the Super Builder's Wand, which I don't think you can get normally. I might be mistaken there, but yeah, I can't build that. But they are pretty good at determining what pattern you want. But I think the normal Builder's Wand has a limit of, like, I want to say like 12 blocks per cast or whatever, while the other Builder's Wand is significantly better. But like I said, you can't really get that one because it does make making massive Skyblock islands a lot easier. If I were to build all this by hand, that would have taken me hours. But with the Super Builder's Wand, it took me 30-45 minutes tops. Now, getting back to the dirt. Actually, let me grab both of these. Okay, getting back to the dirt, or rather the grass. The grass is what's important here. As you remember, there is a tab inside a Thaumcraft for X asterisk, which is basically X nihilo for, or Skyblock Thaumcraft, basically. We really haven't been able to do any research yet because we don't have a whole lot of aspects researched yet. In order to get that, we're going to need to buy or create a certain thing called the thaumaturge, which requires 2 shards and a little bit of mana glass, but that's not a big deal. Also, as a note, the goggles are revealing, which are really useful in most Thaumcraft things. It's not as useful right away. We will get them eventually, but they're not a immediate beeline like they used to be. But like I said, the Skyblock Thaumcraft has different ways of getting shards, and they give you little hints here. So, for example, find me in place on the surface reflecting emerald color light. That means grass. You find it on the surface and it reflects the light. As you know your physics, anything that's green reflects green light. So how do we get that? Well, first of all, let me go get my hammer. And I should point out that the grass is really the pain, because unless you have a silk touch tool, you can't really automate it, but everything else you can. I must have broke my hammer. I'm sorry, guys. As a note, my lumber mill has been doing an amazing job of keeping my planks or my wood requirements down because of agricraft. I go through a lot of wood. That will do. Only downside is there's still no good way of getting an increased number of sticks. So there is that. Okay. So in order to get any shard, just basically hammer the block. Seems I'm having a little bit of rubber banding issues. Sorry about that. Kind of problem with doing things on the server, I suppose. Now, just so you know, getting grass is a little tricky on a skyblock. I mean, it's not impossible by any means. But basically what it is you need to get grass seeds, which are these. And that's only about a 1 in 15-ish chance of dropping from dirt. As you can see, there are other things that are also pretty nice to drop, but I think we got these while saving for dirt for our initial cobble generator, but I don't think we really used them for any other reason, or we really sieved them for any other reason. So if you're looking for dirt seeds or grass seeds, that's the way you want to go. I'm just going to keep one there because it can spread again from that one block. But as you see from all that, we got about 62 shards. So just about every dirt block we broke, in fact I think it was every dirt block we broke, gave us a shard. Now let's take a look at the other ones here. Air shards, you shall find me in place where dryness reigns. You'll find me in part of the prison state in burning darkness. Yada 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 yada. Quite frankly, all these rules are pretty easy to figure out. It may require a little bit of guess and check on your part if you want. But some of them are pretty easy, like I said, easy to figure out. I'm a block that can destroy you, yet can never destroy you on my whim. And that means it can kill you, but it needs to be triggered somehow, aka TNT needs something to light the fuse. And on the other hand, I stand still and stand strong in front of entry. So that's something that blocks TNT. If memory serves, that's actually a type of a type of stone brick. It sounds like obsidian, but it's not. But if for some reason you can't figure these out, they are on the internet, or if you just go into your NEI, you can see most of the shards there. Most of these won't give you anything really. The pride shards, all these are part of forbidden magic, and they have their own entries on how to find them. But if you look at the basic ones, air shards are from air infused dust, from magic bees, or from sandstone slabs. which might be the other one we can't directly hammer. I'll have to double check that. Fire shards are from nether bricks. As I said, that's TNT, and that's stone slabs. Now, for the most part, if you want to keep things automated, yes, you can take them and just use them to hammer them. And for the most part, your automated hammer system will take care of it. The only ones I think you have problems with is grass, unless you have a silk touch. And then I think this one is the sandstone slab. I'm trying to press R and I can't see the recipe for that. So I think that's where you have to take sandstone and make them into slabs and then place them into the world on top of each other, if memory serves. Unfortunately, while I thought I had some sandstone around somewhere, I can't seem to figure out where it went. So we may have to double check that later. Sorry about that. But yeah, we got stone slabs, which aren't hard to make. We got TNT, which thanks to our monster spawner up there also is not hard to make. But there is an easier one. And that is the water shards. Now, they get made from ice. And whenever ice is hammered, there's a good chance it drops ice shards, which if you use look at the ice shard recipe, you can make packed ice or place it back together into ice. In fact, if you look, it only takes 4 ice to make it a block, and there's a chance that, albeit a small chance, that these can actually drop up to 6 shards. Like I said, that's a fairly small chance though, so don't expect it to self-propagate exactly. But how do we get ice? Well, there's 2 ways, really. You can go about it with a compressor, which is just compressing snowballs. But then you gotta get snowballs, which is from snowball seeds. There's a couple different ways of getting it. The other option, you got blood magic, you got Botania, basically snow inside of a mana pool with, sorry about my phone guys, my bad, but you need an alchemy catalyst and a mana pool that turns into ice. I'm not sure if it's part of the vanilla recipe or not, but I know in Botania's Gardens of Glass you could put them on the corners of a pure daisy and water will turn into glass, or turn into ice, sorry. But there is an easier way for what we're going to do. So first of all, by the way, I filled up my lawn too. That just requires a bunch of monster killing. And those half slabs I have in front of my monster spawner is more than enough for the aspect shards to get out. What we're going to do though is we're going to go over here to my table and we are going to work for the glacial precipitator. It's not a complex machine, it just requires copper gears, invar, piston, and the redstone reception coil, which as a reminder is the gold one. So just place that there. And I don't even think it requires power, actually. I think it just requires water, but we'll check that in a moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to make more transfer pipes, folks. Why don't you give me just a few minutes to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Small change in plans because I found out that the glacial precipitator does in fact need power. So all I did is I moved it from over there where I was planning it to be to over here by the watermelons. I don't think this is going to be a permanent position because, frankly, that's not very nice to look at. But it was easy to hook it up to our already existing power line. And basically, it's going to draw power from this one here. What little power it does need, though, is going to be pretty minimal. And basically, I just switched it from snowballs to ice. And it fills up the water. And it takes, I believe, a full bucket. Yeah, a full bucket to make ice. I want to say snowballs take a smaller amount. This can be augmented, but not very much, just FYI. But yeah. Usually there's a recipe button on these somewhere, but I don't see it on this one. It can make snowballs and snow. I want to say snowballs are almost free, while snow takes, like, I want to say a fourth of the bucket or something like that. But for now, this does the job. I could, if I wanted to, put this up next to a barrel or one of the immersive engineering crates. But frankly, I don't need any of them, really. And frankly, one of the biggest problems with this right now is the transfer nodes transfer water until this is full, which only holds 400 megabuckets, and then it repeats the process going through the other ones. This is probably the furthest possible exit on as far as water goes, which is good because that means it will keep my water or my farms full of water first over this one. But it means this will not fill up and refill itself very quickly. On the other hand, that's probably a good thing. Like I said, more water is probably needed for my farm than anything else. So I'll let this go, and basically it will stop once the ice itself hits 64 because it has no place of outputting it. So there's that. But then I just come over here, and as you can see, this thing has been happily going at my stone shards. Kind of surprised it's made so many, but whatever. I'm just going to put these there for purposes of observation, really. And there we go. We got the water shard, and we got some ice shards. And the ice shard should work in the compressor, I think. So we got 3 shards there. And then we got 2 of them back. So for about 4 buckets of water, we got ourselves a it's not an infinite loop of water shards, but it degrades pretty slowly. So there is that. Now it's doing my TNT, which is fine. We will probably primarily be using water shards just because of the fact it's so easy to get them, as I just showed you. Don't get me wrong, the water shards aren't exactly hard to get a hold of either. But, you know, it's cheaper in the long run. But the other thing we're going to need is, I'm sorry, I forgot to grab a bit of glass here. We're going to need 2 shards, a bit of glass. Did I run out of glass? Wow, that's kind of surprising, actually. Let's turn off the bottom here real quick. And we're also going to need 2 things of gold. And there's some glass. I'm really going to have to set up a better system for sand, really. And as you can see, my furnace has been working for quite a bit now. And it does work pretty well for the controller still. I will point out we did have an explosion that was like right around this area. It wrecked just about all of this. Fortunately, the doors and everything were safe. So I will point out though that I noticed that if it does not have an inventory slot, like that stone did not have an inventory slot, it will create an inventory spot for it if you don't want it to. Mild annoyance, but you know, long run, not anything terrible. But yeah. Now we'll just take up the glass up here, and this recipe normally takes normal glass, but because, you know, this is Feed the Beast, we now need a little bit of mana glass. And oops. Helps that you get them in the right order. Okay, so I now have my thaumameter, and as anybody who's ever played with Thaumcraft can probably tell you, there's a pretty extensive scanning game that gets involved here. See, I just learned something new. So I basically have to go around now and scan everything. Keep in mind, some things you have to scan before others, because, like you just saw there a moment ago, I scanned this oak trunk and couldn't find anything until after I scanned the leaves. Then I could scan the trunk. So, there's also going to be some issues like rubber wood. I don't think it's going to work. Oh no, we can do rubber wood because it requires man, but we can't scan the cobblestone slabs. So, yeah. You can kind of see all that down there in the bottom right. But I'll probably do all this in between episodes, so you don't have to watch me do it. But I can pretty much assure you that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be things that are added, some things that were changed. So it's going to be different. I can't use the normal cheats for this. At least I don't think I can. But on the other hand, I imagine some things, like possibly these. Yeah, that works. That also seems to work. The smelter does not seem to work. Extra utility seems to. So does thermal expansion. Ex nihilo doesn't seem. Oh no, a little bit of ex nihilo does. Oh, something I did want to also point out. You'll remember that I'm using this setup to create obsidian, and it's doing a decent job. But we found out that the crucible does not produce lava fast enough, really. It tries to keep up, putting in just a little bit of lava before the water gets in there. But right now, if I took a bucket and just right-clicked on the barrel, I would get some water back out of it because of the fact that lava couldn't get in there fast enough. So, minor inconvenience, but nothing major. But like I said, a lot of this is going to be basically me scanning everything to see what works and what doesn't work. Tinkers doesn't work. I'm not sure if the trophies will work. No, it doesn't look like the trophies do. It'd be nice if some of our machines do, because I know like the thermal expansion machines are usually pretty good size sources of like metal and energy, and it seems they still do. It looks like our drawers do. Though I don't have everything I need for all of them. Yeah, it looks like thermal expansion does. I just don't have all the recipes that I need. Yeah, I'll say that for the next episode. And with any luck, we'll have a better understanding of that and can start going over our recipes and our research on the next episode. Once we go over the research, Thaumcraft itself, from my understanding, is pretty independent as far as some of the other recipes or the other magic systems go. They do require a few bits and pieces from the other materials, or from the other magics, and I do believe a few of their materials are used for the other magics as well. In particularly the arcane block, which is not something you really need a whole lot of in Thaumcraft normally, is now used for quite a few different things that it wasn't normally used for. So all of the slates from Blood Magic, it looks like the oven from Witchery, there's a couple other blood magic items. So yeah, the actual research inside of Thaumcraft, as far as I can tell, is mainly untouched by the FTB's team. They changed some of the recipes around. Again, if you hover over the tooltip and the thaumaturge, it's not 100% accurate, so we may have to check out NEI every now and then. But again, my name is Damien Oliver, and if you have any tricks or suggestions on like how I can, maybe get better ice or something of that nature, or maybe you have an easy way of getting the wind shards, feel free to leave me a comment or a tip, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Do keep in mind that the backlog I mentioned beforehand is about a week long, so I may not notice it right away, or I may not. If you give me a hint or a tip, I may have already figured out that problem or whatever the case might be. So, again, I'll try to get back to you as soon as humanly possible. That way you know what's going on. But either case, I will greatly appreciate it. And of course, I will always like likes and comments, or likes and shares on my YouTube channel. Or if you want to go to my Twitch channel, sometimes I do Twitch over there too. I'm actually hoping to get a little bit of Overwatch, and there's a new game that came on my radar called Dreadnought, and I'm hoping maybe to get started into that. We'll see. I've also took a look at Stardew Valley, which could be an interesting game for my off days. Like, I'm only doing Infinity Evolved Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that might be a good thing for like Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll see. Again, my name is Damien Oliver. Thanks for checking out my channel, and have fun.